Hi guys, and welcome back for video number 2. Remember that during these videos, you're supposed to be taking notes on a piece of paper. I hope you already have your notes from video 1. We're just going to be continuing on with the same piece of paper. Notice that we have the same title, 1-2, order of operations. So here were the end of my video 1 notes. I'm going to pick up my pencil and I'm going to start my video 2 notes. All right. In this video, we're actually going to start practicing simplifying problems from start to beginning. So we'll start with the original problem and we'll simplify it all the way down to a single number using our order of operations. If you've already forgot what that is, it's PEMDAS. So here's our first example. Now again, on these examples, you want to be writing them in your notes exactly how they appear on the screen. Every step that I do on the screen, you want to write that as a separate step on your notes. This is also what I'd like your homework to look like. So it's really important on your homework that you're showing me all of your work, you're going step by step, and you're not skipping steps. That's where we have a tendency to make mistakes. One of the things that I like to do when I'm doing these PEMDAS problems is I'll run through PEMDAS in my head. So I'll think to myself, the first letter is P for parentheses, and I'll ask myself, are there any parentheses in these problems? And the answer is no, there's not, so I can skip that step. Then I'll tell myself, the next letter is the letter E for exponents. Are there any exponents in this problem? And the answer is yes, there is. There is an exponent. An exponent, again, is a small number written above a normal sized number. So here's an exponent. So I am going to do exponents in this problem. Now that's literally the only thing I'm going to do in this problem. The only thing I'm going to do is change that 3 squared into something else. So I'm going to copy down everything else exactly how it looks. 5 times 7 minus 6 divided by 2 plus, and instead of a 3 squared, I'm going to do 3 times 3, which is 9. We talked about this on the last video. 3 squared is 3 times 3. Okay, so again, we're only replacing one thing at a time, one step at a time. Now, before I move on, I need to make sure I dealt with all of the exponents. So I'm going to do a quick little glance again and make sure that there are no more exponents, and there are not. So I'm ready to do my next step, which is multiplying or dividing. Now, again, it is multiplying or dividing. Whichever one comes first gets done first. So yes, I do have multiplying and dividing. And then the question is, which one do I do first? So starting at the very beginning of the problem, the first symbol I see is a multiplication symbol. Since the multiplication appears first in this problem, I will do multiplying first. And that's the only thing I'm going to do right now. I'm going to figure out what 5 times 7 is, and everything else is going to stay the same. So I have 35. That's 5 times 7. And then I'm going to keep going with the problem. Minus 6 divided by 2 plus 9. Now, I'm not done with my multiplying and dividing. There is still more to be done. So again, taking my pencil over to the beginning of the problem, I'm going to scan again. This is a minus sign. Nope, not yet. This is a division sign. So the next thing that I see is a division sign. So now I'll do some dividing. And I'm just dividing the numbers directly surrounding the division sign. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I'm going to keep everything else exactly the same. 35 minus, this will change into a 3, plus 9. I now have no more multiplication or division signs, so I'm ready to move on to my last 2 letters, which are adding and subtracting. There is both adding and subtracting. And so then the next question I ask myself is, which one do I do first, adding or subtracting? And the answer in this scenario, again, starting at the beginning of the problem and just going through, the first symbol I see is subtraction. And so I will end up doing subtraction first because that's what happens first in this question. 35 minus 3, that's the only thing I'm doing right now. 35 minus 3 is going to turn into 32. And I'm down to my very last operation, which is an addition sign, so I'm going to add, and my final answer is 41. Okay, so again, make sure you copy this all. You don't have to write the words. Oh, I'm sorry if you already wrote the words, but make sure you copy down the problem in your notes. And then, when you're doing your homework tonight, make sure you're doing that step by step, one thing at a time, only changing one number at a time. We're going to complete our notes today with one more example, and then you'll be able to finish your homework for tonight. Again, I'm going to write some words on the side. I apologize. I didn't tell you not to copy those down on the first one, but those are more of a mental, like this is what I'm thinking in my head type of thing. So don't worry about writing down the words. Just worry about writing down the math. But we're going to go through those words again in our head, and we're going to start with the word parentheses. And this problem does have, oh my gosh, it has so many. It's got like 3 different sets of parentheses. And so I definitely have to do parentheses. When you're doing parentheses, you're also going to follow your order of operations. So I've got a couple different ones here. I have one set of parentheses right here. Those are kind of standing on their own. These brackets are technically a type of parentheses. It's a type of grouping. And then I've got another set of parentheses here. Now, as far as these brackets are concerned, I have brackets. I have like parentheses inside of parentheses. So they're like nested inside each other. So since I have it nested inside each other, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of these parentheses that are inside of a parentheses. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do first. Again, we're trying to practice just doing one thing at a time. Sometimes we might do 2 things at a time if they're separated enough apart. But for these problems, I'm going to try to stick to just one math operation at a time. Okay, so I've only done the parentheses within a parentheses, 11 minus 2. Now remember, our goal for parentheses is to get it down to a single number on the inside. And I'm not quite there yet, so I'm still going to work on parentheses. I have this front parentheses, which has a subtraction problem that I need to take care of. And then I have this second bracket, which has an addition problem, and I need to take care of that as well. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'll take care of the subtraction, 5 minus 1, and I'll take care of the addition, 9 plus 5. Now, once you get it down to a single parenthesis or a single number in the parentheses, if you don't want to write the parentheses or the brackets anymore, you don't necessarily have to. And so now, guys, we're only done with the first letter of PEMDAS. We've only done parentheses. So now we need to remind ourselves, okay, I'm just finished the P for parentheses. I'm ready to do my second letter. Even though I've already done a bunch of adding and subtracting, that doesn't count. That was all part of parentheses. So now I'm going to do E for exponents. I have another exponent in this problem, 4 squared. Remember, that means that we're going to write the number 4 2 times. 4 times 4, which is 16. I'm down to my very last operation, so I pretty much know I need to add now. I'm still going to run through my head, though. There's no multiplying or dividing, so I don't have to worry about that. There is adding and subtracting. There's literally only adding, so I'm going to add. And then my final answer is the number 30. So again, just make sure that you're doing one step at a time. You're only doing one operation at a time. You're changing one number at a time. And this is what I want your homework to look like as well. So at this point in time, you can stop the video and then continue with your homework. All homework should be done on the same piece of paper. And then don't forget, when you're done, you're going to take a photo and submit it to me.